So this is flying Dominican Republic, my friend.
Very nice.
Look at the change of pressure right here.
Yeah, what thermals we're seeing, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would say those are some of the strongest thermals I've ever experienced in a plane. In that service.
Are you good?
Oh, that hurt. Yeah, I'm alright.
This is not Canadian winter. With freezing temperatures in Toronto and the plane requiring de-icing, I packed up the family and we headed down to the Dominican Republic. This vacation was really structured around an invitation to fly with one of the few general aviation pilots on the island.
My name is Rodrigo. I started out flying in the Chilean Navy. I was a Navy cadet. I went to the Navy Officer School. After that, I got introduced into flying. 7 or 8 years ago, I got reassigned to be a ground instructor at Chilean Navy. And I was teaching English aeronautical procedures. I got to fly Latus PC-7, that's a turbo trainer. I flew a Casa 212. When I stopped working at the Navy, I got my license in the civilian aircraft. I started out with a Piper Tomahawk, then went to a 150, and then a 152, 172.
Rodrigo is a pastor, and he has a crazy story of perseverance.
In 2006, I had a very bad motorcycle accident. I should have died, actually. There was a car, it was parked in the middle of a really steep curve. Literally saw the car, 4 meters away or 3 meters away. Avoided the car and I hit a post. This is actually a scar from where I hit, and it was severed. It was hanging from here, just from one tiny muscle in the back. And that was one of the situations that really got me very safely attached to my beliefs. I was in a wheelchair for 1 year straight. It took 5 years to fully recover from that, and 16 operations.
Before executing our mission to explore this area from above, Rodrigo invited us to immerse ourselves like locals on the ground level.
One of my dreams was to get to know Bahamas. And I was there, and the water was just beautiful. I was amazed because I thought I would fall in love with Bahamas, but I fell in love with the sea, that's it. I just wanted to be here. This is a 100% replica of another ancient city which is in Dominican Republic. It's north of Santo Domingo. It's not an easy thing to do GA here. There are a lot of things involved. General aviation here is very small, so basically everybody functions at a commercial level. It's unique, but you really have to be update with some nerdish stuff in aviation to fly safely. I love it. It's been challenging, but also it's been very rewarding as a pilot and also as a human being.
So this episode really is about a day in the life of a Caribbean pilot doing his best. Please don't consider this instructional, but enjoy riding along.
Normally in the morning, have breakfast. The previous night I've checked the weather. Although here you don't really have complete softwares or programs or information like you have in the States or Chile. You rely on your basic weather software, and that gives you an idea of what the morning's going to be like.
And if you're wondering just how small the general aviation population is on the island,
here in La Romana, I'm the only one.
the pre-flight process here is as much about the airplane as it is about maintaining relationships with the locals.
I have a good relationship with everybody here, basically. People here are very sweet. They like to talk to you and know about you. And since I'm a pastor, everybody comes and they say hello, or they expect me to go say hello and ask how they are. So in order also to have nice operations here, you have to be humanly kind to them as well.
Good. How you doing?
¿Cómo está?
Rodrigo literally builds in time for these friendly encounters into his pre-flight routine, but we do have to get back to it.
It's really important, especially with this engine. The maximum quarts for the engine, quarts of oil are 12. And normally the engine agrees with 11.5. When I brought it here, I put 11.5 and it started spilling oil everywhere.
But no doubt the most unique variable you have to deal with here is the extreme heat.
The pressure is so high, so it's gonna take 10.5, not 11.5. You have to get to know your plane, not the model. The high temperature, the pressure inside the engine goes up, and the atmospheric pressure and the heat, the Comanche, it doesn't have cowlings. So So you can't manually apply those and start, you know, reducing the heat inside the engine. So you really have to get acquainted with its personality.
And the logistics are quite challenging. Rodrigo had explained to me off camera that he had to work really hard just to get oil shipped in for this flight, because he didn't realize the FBO didn't have it available, and it was 5 times more expensive to do it that way.
Nudos, verifique el coordinate 3006, luego la salida por la derecha en ascenso a 3000 pies.
One, two, 1, 2.
Check 1, 2, you got me?
Do you hear me loud and clear?
I got you.
All right. You want me to talk in English?
You can do whatever you normally do and then tell me how you're doing it.
Number 649 Papa, Torre Romana, buenos días.
Muy buenos días, el 649 Papa.
Rodrigo's designed a bunch of custom SOPs to deal with this extreme heat. The first thing is he's got these battery-powered fans, and he keeps them running right up until after engine start because it's so hot in there.
Okay, so we're set. Push the throttle back a bit, because we already have, good fuel pressure, you see.
And the extreme heat doesn't just affect the oil.
Another thing that's very important, which is out of the ordinary, it gets so hot here that actually the gasoline evaporates from the lines.
Wow.
So you start up the engine, and you know that the boost pump, it helps the mechanical pump.
All right, put pump on.
But at this level, the mechanical pump has also been dried out a bit. So you start out the engine, it starts perfectly, but if you don't take time and you don't check the fuel pressure, you're gonna be in serious problems.
So what I did here was call to the tower and ask for permission to taxi to Alpha 1 holding point with runway 11. So we could do engine run up. Also gave her our VFR plan, fuel amount, right, and passengers on board type of aircraft and altitude we're going to be maintaining here in the Dominican Republic. If you maintain below 2000, you're flying VFR, and you do almost all the calls, you have to caution traffic, which the tower is going to let you know about.
And you squawk 2000, that's your VFR squawk here?
Exactly. This is the brake. I don't have brakes on my toes. I have to brake with my hand. I'm going to check the mags, all right? Look for 2000 RPM. Check the fuel pressure again without the pump. It's full up now. So we're ready. We've been given the clearance to enter.
Dos personas a bordo.
Eso es correcto, 2 personas, el capitán es Rodrigo Lilo y un pasajero. We have clearance to taxi to the
Position.
to position, exactly.
Yeah.
We always have to check for clearance for takeoff, although they normally give it immediately, but I don't like to because there's too much waiting, you know?
Yeah, that's a bit of a back taxi. Do you call it back track or back taxi here?
Backtrack.
Yeah. So in the States, I think we call it back taxi. In Canada, we call it back track.
Backtrack, yeah. And in Chile as well, backtrack, and that's what I taught all the Navy official officers, backtrack. Normally, like 99% of the time, the active runway is 11. The winds here are always the same. What you do change a lot are the intensities and the pressures, but not the direction. When you have a change of direction, you better decide to come back and get on the ground, because that means there's a big storm coming.
We got to see a few pretty good ones during our brief time on the island.
The wind shear here, dude, is wind shear.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The trim is set, and we're set. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alrighty then. So, speedometer's alive, gauges are all in the green, we're good, full power, rotation, and we're up. We're not using flaps now, we're going to settle off a bit here, brakes, landing gear up. We're going to wait for that yellow light to come on. We're going to maintain this attitude, release the pressure on the stick. We're up to 2,000 feet per minute.
That's awesome. So is this a fancy resort area?
Yeah. And this is turbulent right there. We're gonna just overfly it today, because as you can see, we have a little bit of turbulence. Yeah. I'm gonna set my manifold pressure now to go down to 2,450, which is almost there, and we're gonna leave it there. You see it's a bit bumpy.
Yeah, the girls would not have liked this. You cleared it, just do whatever you wanted. You told her your basic plan.
Yeah.
So I threw this in the ForeFlight just so that I could get all the charts updated. I put this random kind of plot here. There's more area than we're going to cover today, obviously, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite features of ForeFlight. Before leaving Wi-Fi, I make a flight plan bigger than what I think we're going to need and just press pack, and it gets all the data and charts.
And now we're going to go down to 2,350. It's not agreeing. Can you feel the vibration?
Yeah.
It doesn't like that. So
Got to find the sweet spot. That seems better, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the feel you have to get with the airplane. It's telling you that manifold pressure with 2,400. That's good.
And that can change on the day?
It does.
And despite my best efforts to download all the information we'd need, weather data simply wasn't available. The closest airport with limited weather data was over 30 miles away, but here the local conditions can change quickly.
So that's Bayahibe. This is where we came yesterday. That's the bay right there.
Look at that coordinated turn. Perfect.
You want to fly like this in this airplane, because or else look how it goes down.
If you don't get coordinated?
If you don't.
Yeah.
And look at the change of pressure here. Right here.
Yeah, we'll start seeing the thermals we're seeing, right?
You have this vegetation right here. It's tough.
Coming from the coast to the vegetated area, you get thermals, and they're literally dragging you down.
So here you want to be flying, patrolled and coordinated.
And just as I was trying to line up a shot of our resort, I got clobbered by a huge thermal.
And that's everything.
Are you good?
Oh, that hurt. Yeah, all right. Jesus.
Okay, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah, I would say those are some of the strongest thermals I've ever experienced in a plane. Yeah, there's our resort. Beautiful.
That's the resort.
And despite the bumps, we were having a heck of a time up here, but I'm sure glad I left the girls on the ground to enjoy the beach down there.
So, let's do a quick check. We see that the fuel pressure is good and we're without the pump, so that's perfect. We're still at 22 manifold pressure in 2004, and we see that the temperature is in the green, but on the top green. We'll keep it here, and you're going to see that once we're right to the canal over there, it's going to probably go down a little bit, but this is normal.
And you're just keeping the mixture rich the whole time?
All the time.
Like there's no way you want to lean it because it'll get hot?
Yeah, you don't want to take the mixture out. If it starts going down, the engine is getting cool. You want to keep it there. If it's going up, it's the other way around.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool looking reef right there, eh?
Yeah, fuel pump on. We're going to maintain a couple of maneuvers there, so we want the fuel pump on. Remember I told you that the temperature is going to go down?
Yeah.
Look, this is how much you have to learn and get to know your airplane.
Notifique abandonando Isla Saona. Confirme intenciones luego de Isla Saona.
Para tomar Bayahibe por mi derecha. Siempre bajo los 2,000 pies. Right over there we have two ships that were sunk right there because they were trafficking drugs.
Those are the ones on the beach there?
Right there. So ever since then, boats here have been banned from passing, so they're really restricted. You have to ask for permission.
Wow, okay. Kind of a shame to crash him into the reef, though.
Yeah.
Is that another one crashed, or is that guy anchored?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one.
It turns out that boat was donated by a scuba club apparently to help revitalize the tourism. So things are progressing, and I'm definitely going to come back and do some scuba diving with Rodrigo next time.
Okay, change fuel, boat on, change left tank.
They change tanks every 30 minutes?
Yeah.
You're right on the money for time. You have a timer, or you just got a new off the top of your head?
You get so used to it, it's a bodily timing.
Yeah, you're at 32 minutes. I started rolling this at the takeoff.
Gonna keep the fuel pump on since we're still at 900, 1,000 feet. Beautiful, huh?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. How deep is the water here, do you think?
At some points it's very shallow, like 3 meters. And for example, over there where you see the ships, it's 1.5 meters.
So yeah, definitely some prime scuba diving there. And if you want to meet with Rodrigo, I'll put his links in the blog post at flightshops.com.
Temperature, and it stays there.
Yeah, I like how often you're checking that. Most pilots are not good at checking these things frequently. Engine gauges screen is something people say a lot. They don't actually look at them.
Yeah. So this is flying Dominican Republic, my friend.
Very nice. And so we'll keep away from those thermal. Let's stay out here.
That was actually the wind leveling my wing.
Yeah, and your oil pressure is nice and healthy. It's not high, it's not low, just the bottom of the screen. So you can kind of cleared you for a straight in final?
Yeah. Alright. You're down. Go nose down. The airplane likes to land with 2 notches of flaps.
Full is 3?
Full is 3. And this plane I would highly recommend not putting 3 notches. Kept it high a bit because there are a lot of turbulence.
Oh yeah.
And when it gets up there.
I was agreeing with that approach. Don't need to come in shallow. Why do that?
Exactly. Fuel pump on, landing lights on, rotating beacon on always, full mixture in, props is full in, and we're at idle right now. We're looking for 100. The manual says 90. I use 100 in this airplane because it does that, you see?
Right.
It goes down.
Starts to
It
sink.
sinks. And here, down. That's what I was avoiding over there.
Yeah. Very nice.
Flying with community members and sharing their stories has become a huge part of what I'm doing with this Flight Chops project. And we've got a really cool initiative that we're starting called the Flight Chops Experience, where viewers are invited to be a part of the production. And in this case, one of you is going to get to fly with the Aerobatics team.
There you go.
That one's going to be happening at AirVenture 2018. Please visit flightchops.com to check out how you can enter. And while you're there, you can browse the back catalog of over 125 episodes. And until next time, keep your flight chops sharp.
What do you think of that?
Wow.
That's classic. This is classic.
That's beautiful looking fish.